Joining us this week for bonus conversations on the coast is Elaine Magee, and she's the author of a book that I think is just absolutely fabulous. It's called The Change of Life Diet and Cookbook, Delicious Healthy Recipes to Savor Before, During, and After Menopause, published by Avery. And if I were going to write a reading line for this book, Elaine, this is what I would say. This is a comprehensive book that provides practical tips and tactics for managing menopause without HRT or other drugs, and it has more than 125 life-enhancing recipes. How's that for copywriting?
Let's sign you up right now. That's that's awesome. I love it.
I really do want to start by talking about what you talk about in the first part of the book, and that is, why is it the appropriate thing to do, or perhaps the better thing to do, to live free of hormone replacement therapy at this time?
Well, the last few years have been pivotal in terms of long-term studies results finally coming through to us. And basically in 2002, a major federal study concluded that hormone replacement therapy, which is estrogen plus progestin, raises the risk of breast cancer, strokes, and heart attacks. Well, that's nasty.
That is nasty.
So for now, the government advice is, and it makes a lot of sense, if you use hormones for menopausal symptoms, use the lowest effective dose for the shortest possible time. So even if you end up going on hormone replacement therapy because your symptoms are so severe, your goal really is to get off it as quickly as possible. So even if you are on hormone replacement therapy, hopefully this book can really help you, because sooner or later you're going to get off of it.
Well, the reasons for getting off, you list very carefully. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention somewhat in passing, but I think it's very important, that the study that you're referring to was done by the Women's Health Initiative.
Yes, huge, with thousands and thousands of women.
27,000 women were involved in the study. So often in matters such as this, you hear about a study and somebody goes on waxing eloquent about it, and then somebody clears his throat and says, well, how many people are in the study? And they say 122.
Yeah, or even 28.
Yeah, 28, yeah.
Yeah, this was huge. That's why I really felt I'd already written a book on menopause called Eat Well for a Healthy Menopause, and at that time I had personally made the choice that I would definitely try to get through it myself without HRT. But after this, I really felt that it was time for another book, a book that looked at symptoms and specific diet tips and tricks to get through those symptoms without hormone replacement therapy. I thought it was time to really come out and do a book. And basically, the three benefits that you can say that you get from hormone replacement therapy is it does help treat some menopausal symptoms.
Correct.
The other benefit is it does reduce the incidence of hip fracture by about a third compared to women who aren't taking it. It does significantly reduce colon cancer incidence.
Okay.
But those are two areas that you can use diet intervention to reduce your risk as well, especially a third in both cases. So there are chapters in the back of the book that specifically look at diet and osteoporosis risk and diet and colon cancer risk.
Well, the other side of that coin is that HRT therapy is more hurtful to the heart than it is helpful, right? And
Yep.
it gives the people who take it a higher risk of pulmonary blood clots.
That's true.
And
throughout the study, this took place, by the way.
And higher stroke rate?
41% higher in the hormone replacement therapy group compared to those not taking hormones.
Yeah. And then you also mentioned something which I don't think I quite understand, the higher rate of invasive breast cancer. What is that? What does the word invasive mean there?
It's a breast cancer that is fast-growing. And, it usually involves aggressive therapy.
Okay.
And my mom had breast cancer, was it 12 years ago? After having 10 years of hormone replacement therapy, Coincidence? Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
Again, one of the reasons I personally feel I got to admit, breast cancer is definitely one of my top fears, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to help women decrease that risk.
Well, that's what's wonderful about the first part of the book, because somewhere up there in front you say, "Hey guys, I'm not going to take that stuff. I'm going to approach the problems of menopause the way I'm going to talk about them in this book."
Now, the good news is that most women will have mild symptoms. These are the women that will have the most success using this book through menopause and not turning to HRT. It's the women who have severe hot flashes, really debilitating hot flashes and debilitating depression, etc.
Hold on a minute, because we have to let the people know that there's a new HRT coming out there, and it's called Food. And when we come back, we're going to focus on food that's wonderful, delicious, and healthy.
You're listening to Conversations on the Coast with Jim Foster. Now you can find this program on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite digital outlets. Follow the show on Twitter at JimFosterCoc and email JimFosterCoc@gmail.com.
Elaine Magee, The Change of Life Diet and Cookbook. Delicious, healthy recipes to savor before, during, and after menopause, and she's given me permission to read my reading line. This is the book that provides practical tips and tactics for managing menopause without HRT, and it has more than 125 life-enhancing recipes. There's some interesting things about the way the recipes are presented here. First of all, they are arranged by menopause symptoms. Is that what you do?
Yes, I wanted this to stand out from some of the other books out there. And, women, when they're going through menopause, they're usually going to tell you about 2 or 3 symptoms that are haunting them. And I wanted them to be able to quickly flip to the chapters that relate to them.
Yeah, that really
personally.
concern their situation.
And instantly get some kind of information.
Mm-hmm.
And recipes specifically designed for that symptom.
Now, I've looked somewhat carefully through the recipes, and the next boast you make about the recipes is true, that they're practical, and they do include some favorite foods. I mean, you're not taking us way out there.
No, again, I wanted this to stand out and be very, very useful. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what most people, across the country like to eat, and I really tried to cater to that in the book.
And finally, and this kind of surprised me, when we were talking about this book off air, you said it includes basic nutrition information, and I said, well, don't they all? And you said they don't?
It's amazing when I with all the different medical issues that people have, sodium. Some people have to really control sodium. Some have to look at fiber because they have intestinal issues, cholesterol, what have you. It's really important when you buy a cookbook that it has that information for you. If you're diabetic, you should be counting carbohydrates, fat, and fiber so that you're getting a good handle on whether or not this food is going to, help you with your blood sugars. I won't write a book without it. I won't do anything without including that information.
Well, that's great. One of the other nice things you do here in this book is you have some marvelous title for your chapters. Like chapter number 3 is called "Who Poured a Bucket of Water Over Me While I Was Sleeping?" Recipes to Minimize Night Sweats.
Yeah, I try to have a sense of humor, too, because...
Praise the Lord.
Humor, but I tried to bring it across in this book because, this is a time in your life when you really need that sense of humor. And I just wanted people to take this journey with me, have a little fun, get a lot of information, but, and laugh with me a little bit.
Yeah, and you start this not by talking food, but talk about, taking a cool shower before you retire and that kind of things, kind of setting the stage that you won't be as hot getting into bed as you might be. And that, I think, is very good advice.
Well, you're really trying to decrease your body core temperature before times when you are vulnerable to hot sweats, hot flashes or night sweats. And, you can do this by, physically cooling your environment, but also drinking cool liquids so that your tummy, your stomach, that core part of your body is cooler as well. So in that particular chapter, Is It Me or Is It No, that one, Who Poured a Bucket of Water Over Me While I Was Sleeping, that one's got a lot of cool beverage.
Oh,
recipes.
Yes, it does. And my favorite recipe title is Hot Flash Mochaccino.
It's my kids' favorite, too. I mean, They're only 11 and 13, but that's one of their favorites.
But this is a mochaccino that's cool? It's not hot?
No. Yeah, it's like an iced, a frappuccino type of thing.
Oh, all right.
But we're making it, hot flash friendly by using decaf coffee, soy milk, and the ice cubes. And we're also adding some ground flaxseed, just a tablespoon, which are high in omega-3s and also very, very high in a particular type of phytoestrogen called lignin. So this one's got a few things going for it.
And then there's one in this chapter that I know is your favorite because you told me it was. Strawberry lemonade smoothie.
Ooh, yeah.
That even sounds good at this time of day.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially when the strawberries are in season. But in my recipes, if you've noticed, I use a lot of frozen, unsweetened. I try to use products so that you can make these year-round because the hot flashes are going to be coming 12 months a year, not just in the summer.
And here's one that I think the kids can get into. It's called Strawberry Sorbet in an Ice Cube Tray. It kind of rhymes.
Yeah, because even if you don't have fancy machinery, you can, just put the mixture in your ice cube tray, and then that's what you use to blend into a sorbet. And again, in this particular case, we are using mostly, natural fruit and fruit juice for the sweetener, and this particular one has ground flaxseed as an option as well. Just fun ways to cool down and get other foods that benefit your body through menopause.
All right. We've learned some answers to the question, how do you cool down? Next, we're going to answer the question that's often asked, if I'm sweating so much, why aren't I losing weight? Plus more Change of Life recipes with Elaine Magee, author of The Change of Life Diet and Cookbook.
You're listening to Conversations on the Coast with Jim Foster. Now you can find this program on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite digital outlets. Follow the show on Twitter at JimFosterCoc and email JimFosterCoc@gmail.com.
Again, this week, joining us for bonus Conversations on the Coast, the wonderful Elaine Magee, who is going to continue sharing with us some of the wonderful things in the Change of Life Diet and Cookbook. Delicious, healthy recipes to savor before, during, and after menopause. And this week, Elaine is going to share more tips and tactics on managing menopause. And there's a chapter in here that I think is terribly, terribly important. It's called, If I'm Sweating So Much, Why Aren't I Losing Weight? At the beginning of this chapter, you say, if you haven't yet become a health nut, now is the time to start. Why do you say that?
One of the biggest sort of permanent changes after menopause is the decrease in metabolic rate. Uh-huh. And your body starts changing its shape, too. If a woman's been a pear for most of her life, she's going to start knowing what the apples have been dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
And I say that as an apple in a family of apples, but your body literally starts doing what men have been doing, basically, and that's putting excess weight around the middle.
Around the middle, yeah.
So that may be, a bit of a shock. And if you've never had weight problems, you may start getting them because your metabolic rate is changing. But there are a lot of things you can do to, not just, lay down and take it. There's a lot of stuff you can do to get through this, to increase your metabolic rate, to add muscle tissue, to eat defensively.
Well, and one of the other obvious things that you recommend that we do is exercise.
It's
right?
Huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge thing to do for so many reasons. And again, if you haven't done it yet in your life, now's a really good time to make it a priority. And hopefully, this is a time when you don't have kids that you're taking care of, and you can focus on yourself.
And you say that a 45-minute-a-day walk plus working with weights 3 to 4 times a week would be a nice way to go for the menopausal woman.
Every little bit helps. We still get studies. There's just one out today that shows the benefit of, 3 10-minute exercise intervals throughout the day being beneficial. Even more beneficial if you did the 30 minutes all at the same time. So not that that's what I do, but it's just, it all really does add up.
Well, no, you have to fit it in when you can. I think that's if you wait for the ideal moment, I know in my own experience, then you don't do anything. You got to do it when you have the time.
You just have to sort of develop a working out mentality, and I just see it all around me because I've always worked out. It's just one of those things that I do. I've never not done it, but there's people all around me that have a really hard time just kind of shifting into that gear where it is a priority. Where you're a little bit tired when you get home from work, but you know what? You're going to feel better after that 45-minute walk.
Now, Elaine,
you really are.
Elaine, you asked me in this chapter, so I think you're speaking personally to me, to do something that my mother said I should never do. Cancel my membership in the Clean Plate Club.
Yeah, don't we all have a lifetime membership?
Mommy made me do it. Come
I know,
on.
and it all trained us that we need to have a clean plate and that we're good if we have a clean plate. But the real thing that we all should do is eat when we're hungry and stop when we're comfortable. Notice I didn't say stuffed. Some of us are we program ourselves.
Let's say that again for the production staff here. Stop when you're comfortable, not when you're stuffed. Okay.
Yeah, comfortable. That's why I say that. But eat when you're hungry. So that means no dieting, because fad dieting tells you not to eat when you're hungry.
That's right.
And that ends up putting you into a state of usually eating past comfortable.
You also have a section here, and again, I think this is very important. It's called Walking the Alcohol Minefield.
That's one of those, extra calorie bad boys.
Yeah,
and
useless extra calories.
It really is.
Totally useless.
Consider it just fat. Really, it's excess calories. Your body can't even handle it for fuel for the most part, and it's pretty much just excess. Not that, I don't begrudge somebody, some of that enjoyment. It's just you need to really keep it moderate at this point in your life when every little extra calorie is going to be counted by the body. That's just one of the easy areas to one easier for some than others, but easier way to cut some of those extra calories. And really the rule of thumb for women that keeps coming around is sort of no more than one alcohol-related drink a day.
Okay.
And even less will reduce your risk of certain cancers.
I think that this is really a lifestyle chapter that we're involved with here because beyond the points that we've had some time to talk about, this chapter also gives us 10 secret weapons for losing weight. One of them in there, I think, is eat 5 meals a day, isn't it? Isn't that where I saw that?
Smaller, more frequent meals.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because, see, when you eat when you're hungry and stop when you're comfortable, you end up eating that way.
And then the other thing that's in here that we're just going to be able to mention, you can get the book and look it up, 12 Habits of Successful Weight Maintenance. We've been talking for 3 weeks, bonus conversations on the coast with Elaine Magee, the Change of Life Diet and Cookbook. Delicious, hearty recipes to savor before, during, and after menopause. And if you're a man, you can live this way and you'll live better.
Now you can find this program on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite digital outlets. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim Foster COC and email jimfostercoc@gmail.com.